it's never serious, but also the point was like, let's just make fun music, because a lot of people take themselves way too seriously, especially in Sydney. Like, if we're a group and we're not taking ourselves seriously, we will make an impact and people will resonate with that. And evidently it kind of did. So yeah, that was kind of the mission statement. Well, it was like a meme rap scene. Like, no one was trying.
Okay.
Like, everyone was trying to just be kind of funny. But I kind of came into it being like, I've been writing music since I was 12, but like, this could be the way I can see if people think I'm weird or not. If I like, but then everyone's like, oh, you sound so much better than these guys. And I'm like, oh, I'll just keep going then. Like, it's going to be just a lot more stories about the coast. I want the sound to feel there's a lot of songs right now that are very like, kind of that indie rock, surf rock kind of thing that we have on the coast. There's that elements blended in with what I already have kind of made. As well as the hip hop just sounding as much coastal as I can.
That's cool.
So yeah, I just want to try breathe the life I've lived here into the music. I don't know how it's going to translate because it's hard, but you know, that's the goal.
That's like 4 weeks in a row, I reckon, where we've just been sitting here ready to go. And often this is me led. Yeah. And then like I realised I haven't actually plugged my laptop in or started the session or anything like that. Set everything else up.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Well, hang on. We
run a tight ship here.
Have to actually hit record or else we don't have a podcast.
It's just not.
We can have a good chat, but there's nothing to
40
produce
minutes in your ass.
into the world.
There's nothing.
Yeah. Good conversationist, I think. But yeah, otherwise.
That's what you really need, really.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe we should just do that.
Maybe we can start an alternate podcast series, which is talking about the podcast that we tried to record. Yeah. Like, so guys, we recently sat down with Comar and it was a fantastic chat. We spoke all things about XXX. If only you were there, you could have experienced.
If you were in the room.
This is our recounting of the episode as opposed to here's the chat.
Yeah, just a play-by-play of an interview.
Yeah.
That will be the next thing.
Yeah.
So then I said to Comar, like, so what about this Flight Academy stuff? And then he said that it's like this collective crew. No.
That'd be way more interesting than...
Yeah. I think we'd get letter bombs. We don't even have an address registered. We get letter bombs.
They'd find us.
Yeah, we get
Harry Potter style. Just envelopes coming through the windows everywhere.
Perfect.
My wife would be so proud right now. I made a Harry Potter reference.
Okay. All right. Comar.
Hello.
We've got you. We're in studio right now here at Sonora Studios. Welcome to Homebrewed.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for having me. I'm very appreciative of this to finally do something coast-based.
Yeah, we were talking off mic before. You are actually, this is when I first wrote about you guys in the Flight Academy thing. I referred to you as an MC. Do you prefer to be referred to as an MC, or do you like rapper, or like what is the preferred reference?
Anything. Like I try to wear as many hats as possible. I definitely, Last Flight specifically, obviously I'm quite the MC that's like the rap and stuff, but you know, I do everything nowadays. So, but yeah, I'm not too like big, like labels don't really, I don't think twice about them, I think, at the end of the day. So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we'll just alternate probably between a few throughout the chat. But you're an MC from the Central Coast, and what we were talking about prior
Sorry, can I just MC? What does that stand for?
I don't know. I should know, but I don't know what it actually stands for because it's also spelled like EMCEE, so it might just be the word.
That's fine. So I was feeling really dumb, but I now have a bit of comfort that you also don't really know what it stands for. But effectively like front rapper in a group.
It's just whoever's on the mic.
Okay.
I think it's a very old school term. I don't think it gets used very much anymore.
So it's not master of ceremonies.
No.
Maybe that's where it sort of branches off from. I don't know.
I imagine.
You could still describe yourself as that though. You know, I feel like that kind of is with the, you know, like the gusto.
Of course.
But yeah, you're from the Central Coast, and it's exciting. Like it's exciting when we find rappers from the coast. Like anyone, you know, we've been on a bent lately of actually finding a lot of artists from across the spectrum, and I think doing it via podcast has allowed us to kind of step outside the confines that we would have had previously with radio in terms of kind of what we can talk about and what we not that we play, but what we can spotlight, I guess. And what I picked up from listening to a lot of your music is that you're big on like referencing where you're from. So we see a lot of artists that will say they're Sydney based, or even if they go to Sydney, they'll kind of look to shred their coast roots.
There's so many. I find a new one every day. I didn't know Porcelain Boy was from Central Coast.
Who?
Was it Porcelain Boy?
Oh, Porcelain Boy. Yeah, sorry.
Because I did a show. They were supporting. I did a show supporting Filler, and Porcelain Boy were on it, and then I found out like a week later they were a coast group. Like, I didn't even know. Like, but it comes with everyone, right?
I mean, I guess Porcelain Boy as a project was born in Sydney.
Yeah,
they were on the coast as Nelly Pot beforehand.
That's okay. Well, I didn't know.
So I'll give them a pass for that.
Yes, big love to Porcelain Boy. Their last track is so good, so cool. But yeah, you reference it a lot, and I want to let you talk about that first, and then I've got a fun tidbit that Cam's going to absolutely love, that I absolutely loved. We all have something very strong in common.
I had a feeling because I checked out the Astro interview. So if it's about football, I might be wrong.
Okay,
yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
We're talking. How all of our interviews either go down talking about Taylor Swift or sports and football. At the moment, they all get sidetracked. So, but we always come back. So there's stick around. But because Eamon built up this tidbit, he goes, I got a tidbit.
I had a feeling when you asked Owen when he was like, "Oh, did you play football on the coast?" I was like, "Oh, there's our one."
Yeah,
because I'm sure there's been a connection. Yeah, I played football on the coast for years.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay.
22.
I stopped playing.
This is the problem. We're ancient. I'm 30 next year.
We're getting old, man. We are.
Also,
I'm 30 next year, and I haven't played. 2021, I think, was my last year. Or maybe 2020. It was a COVID.
2022 was my last year because I haven't played in a while.
Yeah, okay.
So there could be like an all age or like a grade thing.
I played 1 year all age. It was technically they had an under 20s comp. They tried to make an under 20s comp, but then there wasn't enough teams, so they put us in all age.
What division?
4.
Okay. I never played 4s. So.
Didn't we play 4s when we played?
We were 6s.
Oh, we should not have been in 4s.
Then I played 2s as well.
Oh, bloody 2s? That's solid.
Yeah. With all our guests, we could probably start like a 5s crew or a 7s crew.
Just a rotating.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's just down the road.
It's literally across the way.
Maybe this can be part of our spin-off podcast. We can go play soccer 5s, and then we'll talk about how we'll analyse the game. And then, by the way, we had a chat to Comar, and this is what he said.
Yeah, that could be fun. We'll be like heaps stinky.
Maybe we can all wear like lapel mics and actually record us
do
playing.
it while we play.
Yeah, do the podcast while we play. That'd be fun.
Some of the banter might not be even allowed on Spotify. I don't know.
I get it. I'm half Italian. I get aggressive.
Very good.
Don't do that.
So let's start with the coast roots and why that's important to you, because it's something that we loved about it when we dove a bit deeper into your stuff.
Yeah, well, basically, obviously, I've lived here since I was 9 months old. Basically, I was born in Hornsby, but I've lived in specifically Wyoming since I was like a year old. So, I mean, I can't like run from that. I was born here, and also even more that I go into Sydney, like literally no one makes hip hop music on the coast, it feels like. Or if they do, they're not vocal about. So it really just is like a, why not? Like, I just rep it proudly. There's nothing wrong with that. That's who I am.
That was something that sort of stood out, because I remember when you reached out to us in our radio days.
Yes, I did.
And
I
you
remember
said,
that.
I'm a rapper, hip hop artist from the Central Coast, and we were like, okay, like gave it a listen.
My music was not that good.
No, but it was like, I thought still the production was very good. Like everything around it was, we played it on air, so it was obviously good enough to warrant playing. But obviously we were a lot more, I guess, indie rock and pop, I guess, focused on the radio. But as Eamon mentioned, now doing podcasting, it sort of allowed us to branch out a little bit more, and now we can dive a little bit deeper into music. But I remember when you reached out, we were like, a rapper from the Central Coast, this is different.
Yeah, because I literally, other than, because obviously Astro used to do a bit more hip hop, I would know like maybe a handful of people, and I don't want to be a dickhead about it, but I feel like their music's probably not up to my par, and that's probably a mix of just not going full into it, which is a tall poppy syndrome that like exists everywhere when it comes to hip hop in Australia. But there's no one really doing it, unfortunately. So I think it stands me out, and I guess it resonates with some people.
Do you enjoy that?
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. Like, again, it's an area that doesn't get much. It's an area that doesn't have a lot to its name. I feel like on a artistry, like in the arts. I feel like Central Coast doesn't have a lot of arts programs and a lot of people pushing that. So it feels like if I'm doing all this and I'm saying from the Central Coast, maybe some kid who goes to like fucking Avoca High School was like, oh, I can do this, and why not?
Yeah.
I guess that's the point at the end of the day.
There's a lot of myself and friends of mine growing up, like loved hip hop and listened to like a wide range of it. Probably like I'm probably less so now, but still really love it. And there's a lot of people that I would come across that loved it, you know what I mean? Like deeply, but that translating into those people who then go on and try and make something out of it in terms of making their own stuff is very, very different. And yeah, maybe part of that problem is that people just couldn't see it in our area. Whereas if you're down in Sydney, like you're surrounded by it, there's a lot more going on, or just any other area where hip hop's coming out of, there's a lot more influence there.
100%.
But one of the coastal things I did want to touch on, I will reveal this tidbit now. I couldn't find the track again. I tried the other week to find one, but I just thought this was the most, I don't know what moment, the most coming of Central Coast moment ever, where we had a rapper making a reference to Jason Cummings in a song. And Comar is a massive Mariners fan. And you've also been up on stage performing in a jersey, which I loved as well.
Yes.
Really?
And I just thought this is like this impossible world I never thought I'd see, where we had like a local MC up on stage in a Mariners jersey rapping about Jason Cummings.
Yes.
I just didn't think that was something that was possible. I didn't think there was a universe where that could exist. And I loved it. And I heard that song when we first touched base way back when.
Yeah.
And then the other week I was looking for it because I wanted to find it and show Cam, but I couldn't find what song it was.
I can't remember now.
And that is the tidbit that I wanted to share with you.
Because there's a new song with it in. I don't know if there's an old song. The new in the song TLC, I say my rap strike like Jason Cummings.
Okay.
Nice.
And the reason I wore the jersey was because it was final season. And I was like, yeah, like we're going to win it all this year. So I was like, hey, I'll go up on stage with a shirt. And we did. So.
And we did. And then I see every Mariners post that we have on ours, this Comar's like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is great.
I was sick the grand final. So I was at home watching it. But oh my God.
The one just gone at home. I was in New Zealand, so I'm on my honeymoon, so it wasn't, obviously, it's a good thing. I was
well, yeah, obviously, like, congratulations.
Yeah, I know. But also, like, there was a big part of me that was like, look, I'm having an amazing time, beautiful country, beautiful occasion, but man, I would have loved to have been.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me we'd rather be in Gosford or New Zealand.
Gossy good times, come on.
Yeah. It was Gossy good times.
Yeah. I bet it was, yeah.
I lost the plot.
Were you at the game?
I was at the game.
So jealous.
The equaliser, I was telling Cam, I fully like accidentally like knocked over a woman in front of me, and like I had my mum with me. We've been going since I was like 7, and I was like throwing her around without even knowing it. And she was like, stop. And I was like, I'm sorry. Had to apologise to the lady in front of me 10 minutes later. I
thought it was over.
Yeah.
Well, like, the 80th minute is when I got hope, and then obviously we scored, and I went crazy. But yeah, that obviously, yeah, so it's more to the identity, I guess. Like and it also, the advantage of it being in Sydney. In Sydney, it's obviously either you support Sydney FC or Western Sydney Wanderers. No one cares if I support the Mariners. Like, no one's going to get actually like, oh, I'm like, I'm fine. Like, they don't take me seriously. And
you just can't wear it in Newcastle.
Yeah, but I'll wear it proudly in Newcastle. Yeah. They can come for me, bro.
They're just jealous and upset, that's all.
They don't have a leg to stand on at the moment.
They barely have a club.
There's no point talking down.
But I just wanted, before we move on from that, what jersey were you wearing?
Oh, it was, I forget which one it is, but it was
indicating a sash.
Yeah. The diagonal sash stripe. That's the photo I've seen.
Was it white and the white and navy sash, or like the old Champions League sash with the yellow?
No, it wasn't that old. It would be 2019 maybe.
Like the alternate white with the blue, like navy blue sash.
I thought it was blue and yellow. I don't know. We'll have to pull it up.
I have a photo somewhere.
We'll have to pull it up.
Because I genuinely don't remember.
I was just curious because I know some of the Mariners kits are quite iconic, and I know some people.
I wish I had the palm tree one.
The palm tree one.
This one.
Less so the sideshow.
It was Umbro, and it was still the Hyundai A-League. So That's all I can remember.
But the new era here under A-League, they had the new logo.
So it would have
yellow with a sash. It looks yellow.
It would have been probably just before the 2020s, I'd say.
Yeah, right. When we were still pretty
It's an old shirt, but not too old, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I have like a season 3 kit, I think, with like an old like Central Coast as the sponsor.
I do have a good tidbit actually from me. In the year we won the first time we ever won a grand final, I have a signed kit from every single Mariner. I won one of those. You know how they used to do the giveaways where everyone signed the shirt?
Yeah.
I won that year as a member.
That's
I have it somewhere.
That's hectic. How old would you have been then?
Well, I would have been like 11. I would have been 11 years old.
I remember I was in primary school, possibly similar age, and we had a Mariners giveaway. And a kid at school won it, like framed signed jersey from the team. He supported Sydney.
No way!
What's he doing, man?
I was
Why is he at
filthy.
your school?
I don't know. I'm my guess from memory, he may have moved up throughout primary school. So he wasn't like born on the coast and just chose to go for Sydney. I think he was raised in Sydney, but moved to the coast in, I don't know, for year 5 and 6 or something. He won it. He was a Sydney supporter. I was filthy. He still kept the jersey.
The only other thing I add as well, Jacob Faz played at my childhood club.
Oh yeah, Wyoming, of course.
Jacob Farrah.
And you'd be a similar age to Faz.
Yeah, he's basically like, so he's close friends with people I'm friends with. I know Jacob, not like as a friend really, but like we know each other on a first name basis. But I have friends who are like, who played football in the academy with him.
Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, shout out Jacob.
Yeah, congrats on the
Absolutely.
move.
Oh yes, I'm so keen. He better get minutes at Portsmouth, but yeah.
Well, apparently
100%.
they've been struggling at left back for a little while. And I've also recently started a career mode save with Portsmouth EAFC.
Smart.
And I'll tell you what, I'd started it before Faz was there, but left back was certainly a position that they were lacking in.
That makes sense.
So I think he should get plenty of minutes. Him and Silvera down the left.
Oh,
wing
yes.
is just...
Scintillating
This
combination.
is fully fledged turn into a football.
It
I'm
has,
so
it
sorry,
has.
but
And
I love football.
it's been tinkering on that a couple of times already.
Yes,
But we got someone in the chair who's, that's why I just knew this would happen, basically. And that's why I wanted to keep it from you, Cam, for now. But
that's okay.
it is fantastic. And I suppose you're referencing it in your music. Like, it is culture, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that is advancing culture. Like, we've got a local rapper referencing the local football team in his music that's then being broadcast out. That is Central Coast culture, which a lot of people say we don't have. And that's like, that is creating it there,
Of
which
course,
I do
yeah.
like.
I mean, I've got like Sam Silvera's in a song, Jay Dilla, and I put Faz in a line ages ago, but yeah, and I'm going to keep
Are
doing
they
it.
aware, the players? Like, did Jason Cummings or Faz or
I
anyone?
don't think so. Maybe
No?
Jacob, maybe someone told him, but
Yeah.
I don't think so. And it's fine. Like,
I can see Cummings being like, how cool is this? And just loving it.
if someone shows Jason Cummings a song, then shout out. But yeah.
It's epic. So, to you've been a solo artist for some time, and I remember actually, I didn't even connect the dots because I remember the Comar reaching out way back when. But then I was at FBI for a little bit in Sydney, doing news and current affairs stuff. But I'd see on the playlist all the time, particularly I think when you did that Matilda's freestyle song.
Yes.
Didn't connect to Central Coasting until we've reconnected again. But you've been at it solo. And then recently, or maybe not so recently, but this Flight Academy collective has popped up, which has made this really, really good first mixtape. And I just want to get everyone's names right here. So you're Comar, Bard XL, you guys are the MCs in that.
And Young Pilot.
And
so we have
Young
3.
Pilot.
So,
And then producers,
Ishi, so that's pronounced Ishi, and then Luna.
And Luna.
And
okay.
Ishi and Luna are both also Central Coast people. So
Epic, okay.
Ishi lives in Woy Woy, Luna's from Springfield.
So there's more coasts than not in
Yes,
the Flight
it is.
Academy
So-
collective.
Yes, but it's the producer, so I don't like. We're still Sydney, I guess. But yeah.
And tell us about that first. I mean, I don't know what you want to focus on specifically because we've got you in the chair, but Flight Academy seems to be what's popping off most at the moment.
Yeah,
so
I'm
let's
more
talk
happy
about
to
that
talk about Flight.
to start with.
Yeah, so basically, I don't even remember really how it happened. Obviously, I think we had a group chat early 2022 because I was making music with... I've been making music with Luna since I was 17, 2019. So it was kind of like me and Luna met, and Bart and Young Pilot have been friends for a long time as well. Luna made the connection with Bart and Pilots, and I would then come to those sessions as well. Then Ishi came along later on because he went to my high school. We're both Gosford High boys. And then we kind of just kept making music together. And then we're like, a group project, let's give it a try because it would be fun. And like, I wanted Bart and Pilot to make more music because they'd been very inconsistent. So then, yeah, we kind of made a plan about 5 months worth of studio or so. we had a booking down in Sydney once a week, every Monday, and we would all just come in and make as much music we could, and then we just kept doing it. It was good fun, and now we're here. It's doing pretty well.
And Flight Academy was born.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a really polished track, and I like the style. I really loved because it's not like, it's very fun, and not fun in a way where it's cheap. It just seems like you guys have a lot of fun, and it's not so full of that real tough attitude, which like there's kind of been like that, especially in Australian hip hop, there's like the barbecue rap from like, you know, more prevalent in like the noughties, and then now we've got like a lot of the drill scene, which is like full of attitude and gusto and macho, which is like has its place. But I really like where you guys have landed, because it's like somewhere where you're just having a lot of fun, but you're like, you got bars, basically.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the whole point. Like, because we're all very unserious people. Like, I have Bart and Pilot in my top 3 funniest people I've ever met in my life. So it's never serious. But also the point was like, let's just make fun music, because a lot of people take themselves way too seriously, especially in Sydney. Like, if we're a group and we're not taking ourselves seriously, we will make an impact, and people will resonate with that. And evidently, it kind of did. So yeah, that was kind of the mission statement.
That also sort of feels part of the Central Coast culture, as well, because like when we spoke to Astro last week, or don't know if it's last week when you heard it, but it was last week as we were recording it, and he was saying coming from Western Sydney to the coast, like it's just so much more laid back, and the attitude around here. G. Darcy said a similar thing when she's songwriting in Sydney compared to the Central Coast, that changes the outcome of her music. So
100.
The culture on the coast is a lot more laid back and relaxed, and not taking yourself, I guess, as seriously, where in Sydney you feel like you need to stand out, and the way to do that is to be more serious and strive for perfection. But you're actually going the other way and saying, if we actually just be ourselves and people resonate with that, well, then that's actually going to stand us apart. You're zigging while everyone else is zagging, sort of thing.
But in the funniest part, I think I learnt that in Sydney, because before... But I kind of pinpoint it when we started Flight. I was also hanging around a lot of Sydney artists, and I realized, because I was also putting on like an American accent, and that this is not that important, but it is important to my story. Is like, I kind of realized you can just be Australian, and if people don't like it, that's on them, and it will actually probably resonate more if you are very Aussie and yourself. So when I learned that is when kind of things clicked into place, where I was like, oh, I could just do what I want.
Well, I look at Hilltop Hoods or Illy and that sort of stuff. Like if they had an American accent, it probably wouldn't resonate in Australia 100%. As much as it does. Sorry, I paused.
No, because I do have a point. There's so many artists like that I'm discovering now, where I'm like, if I heard their music with an American accent, I'm like, I probably wouldn't like it as much. Like, I don't know if there's Sydney artists you guys might not know of, but Zion Garcia, Taco, Soli, but they're also Pacifica Island type, Tongan, those type of places, and those accents buried in with the Aussie accent, and it just creates this beautiful voice sometimes. And I'm just like, if this was American, this would suck. So I think that's very, very true.
Yeah, and same thing about us even Australia wide, like we spoke around the coast, but it's like embrace yourself. You don't have to go full ochre, like just deliver in how your voice is. But I like, this isn't to throw shade on those who do, because I understand it, and I understand it's about marketability, and it's also just how some people learn to sing or like deliver whatever they do. But I do really love it, and we've said it a few times, when you come across an artist who's like very much like, I'm Australian, and like, this is it.
Yeah, I think, I agree. Like, obviously, I was one of those American accent people, and I think it's a product of the music you listen to. But I'll tell everyone, right, like, if anyone is thinking of doing that cross-border, like, you will unlock so much confidence in your ability when you like, I'll just be an Aussie accent. You just sound better.
It's interesting too. I was listening to a podcast with Bed Lee, who Catch My Disease is probably his biggest hit, but he was saying that artists like Eamonn the Sniffers, for example, do really well because Australia can quickly identify, that's, a modern equivalent of Cold Chisel or whatever the case is, where your Morats and your more dream pop has a harder time getting a more wider Australian acceptance, and they actually have more chance overseas. So I'm curious with the hip hop side of things, if you feel like there is a good market in Australia to, show your Australianness and be Australian, or whether the broader side of things is you have more chance of making it in America, and therefore those who have the American twang to their songs might actually be striving, for that sort of international success because the market's not here in Australia.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends what you want to do. Like, if you want to be big, you want to be the biggest artist in the world, then yeah, maybe shed the Aussie accent a bit. Don't lose the identity, I'd hope, just so you could bring everyone else up. But of course, you can go overseas and do whatever you want. But I find it more important to establish hip hop as its own thing in Australia, especially because we have a lot of, like, we're the most multicultural country in the world at sometimes. Like, we have so many stories to tell. Establishing that here with the accent, I think, is way more important, just in a personal, like, in a cultural sense. I think being able to lift everyone up, expanding the culture here so more people can do it, and then make it a vessel for people to express their stories, I think is 50 million times more important. Yeah. But yeah, it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, and we love that too. Like, as Eamonn said, we love that, you get the Aussie accents through everything, but I guess that is one of the, reasons or considerations that people make when changing their accent or, striving, for almost forgetting the Australian market and trying to just get overseas success because the market in Australia is quite limited.
Yeah, it's a ceiling, but I mean, we might as well expand the house.
That's
exactly the best way you can put it. Like there's a ceiling, but expand the house. Let everyone else eat.
Yeah, we're doing extensions. You're going up a level.
We're rebuilding the bathroom. We're going to add another. Like, why not?
And a granny flat on the back. That's where,
2 shower head.
Exactly.
But it is that thing though, right? It's like you understand people go for it, but the more people that do it like you, the house does expand. And we're going to be hamstrung so long as people don't do that. So it is great to hear that attitude out there. I'm curious about your perception on the scene, hip-hop scene in Australia generally at the moment. Like, how do you see it as someone in your position?
I think it's the best it's ever been. I know there's so many artists that I think don't get the love, but they will eventually. But there's so many talented artists out that I'm like, I have faith. I think once they get the platforms and once there's new platforms in place, I think the fact that we're so held, and I don't want to diss Triple J or anything, but the fact that they're the highest you can kind of go and it's a government funded thing, it always will limit hip hop. So once everyone builds everything up, like there's so many artists that will thrive. And there's already artists thriving. Like you got Becca Hatch just released a beautiful R&B project, like that, phenomenal. She's going to be a superstar one day. I mentioned Zion Garcia before. He put out one of my favorite EPs of all time last year. And there's people, DeAndre is going to drop probably the best hip hop album of the year this month. So yeah, like there's superstars, there's great talent here. Yeah, just hopefully everyone catches on soon. And I think it's the best it is.
Yeah, 100%. And then your stuff personally, so your solo stuff, tell us about that and the journey and where you're at with it now, especially considering Flight Academy is kind of going gangbusters.
Yeah, so basically this is like the next phase of my career. I think I kind of pinpoint my career in a lot of ways. I have the early stuff when I was in high school making fun trap music with Luna, who's like my best friend, my closest collaborator. Then there was everything 2021 to probably just before Flight Academy, which was me kind of figuring out how to do everything. And now everything post-Flight is like figuring out who I am as an artist. So this next project's going to be personal, because I feel like every album I'm like, I'm going to be really personal this one, and I don't ever cover it. Or like it's like a fabricated personal, but yeah, this next project, I've started work on it now. I had my first 2 sessions on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah, I'm very excited about dipping into it.
You spoke to us off mic about that involving your roots, like a lot more than even we've heard in the Flight Academy stuff, because obviously that's part of that personal story. Could you tell us a little bit about, or can we have a preview if you're with whatever you're willing to reveal?
Well, yeah, because it's still developing it itself, but basically, obviously the title of the project right now is called Central Coast's Finest, so it's basically going to be hopefully kind of detailing my previous, like my life building up to this point, but I want to go into detail about just certain places I've been, experiences I had specifically on the coast, and just, yeah, I guess more references as well, but yeah, it's going to be just a lot more stories about the coast. I want the sound to feel there's a lot of songs right now that are very like, kind of that indie rock, surf rock kind of thing that we have on the coast. There's that elements blended in with what I already have kind of made. As well as the hip hop just sounding as much coastal as I can.
That's cool.
So yeah, I just want to try breathe the life I've lived here into the music. I don't know how it's going to translate because it's hard, but you know, that's the goal, I guess.
Is the production something that you're working more with? Because you mentioned before that when we said we played your song on radio and you said, oh, that was rubbish, which we didn't think it was, but you obviously look back on your older releases and go, that wasn't very good. What aspect of it are you wishing you could improve upon now?
Well, a lot of it was my voice. Obviously, my raps, I think, were just very American, very still a character. So this one, production will play an influence too, because I think I'm starting to touch it more.
Yep.
Obviously, I have my close producer friend Luna. He is my main producer, but I've started adding stuff in myself. I have other people working on it. Ishi, of course, also Central Coast Act. Probably a few Sydney producers will help too, but I want to make sure it all sounds the way I think it should sound to represent me, my life on the coast. And yeah, I think the vocals will be the biggest aspect of it being better than it was before.
And Luna, does he produce out of home or does he have a studio somewhere?
So yeah, he produced out of home, but he also, I don't know how much I could talk about, but he works at Triple J as well. So he's starting but that's more for engineering because he's a mixing, mastering engineer before all else. But he produces out of home, and we book studios to kind of get everything else sorted. Yeah, but he makes pretty much everything. Like he'll use some samples, but he can play guitar, bass. He's multi-instrumental. One of the most talented people I've met in my life. So yeah,
well-resourced team you've got there, especially in the Flight Academy crew. There's a 100%. Lot in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Luna wears in Flight specifically. Ishi takes more of the production, but Luna obviously mixes and masters everything. But yeah, very resourceful. We try to work with what we have.
And making that music that is very reflective of the coast. I'm not going to say you're the first because I'm sure people have done it in various ways, but you're going to be one of the first, and maybe in the capacity you're going to deliver it, and maybe with the following that you've got, that's going to put stories from the area told via hip hop in a place that it probably hasn't been before. Does that excite you?
Yeah, I say it does. It's kind of worries me a bit. Like obviously I'm like, oh, I got to like be representative as well, but that's like what I want to do. And I wanted to translate to a point where hip hop is established more here and I can actually perform on the coast because like there's nowhere to really perform.
That's
here.
what I was going to ask. Yeah, venues. So you find it hard to perform live?
Well, I've tried many years to sort something out, but there's a difference between all the places here and all the places. Like there's nothing in between. It feels like you either have to go like a really like low capacity like club that doesn't really like hip hop, like a pub basically.
Yeah.
Or you got to be a drifter. So like there's no, in Sydney there's a lot of places that are like still like 100, 200 capacity that can allow kind of a hip hop energy in it. But here it just doesn't feel like it, unfortunately.
It feels like that's flipped in sort of the 6 years that we've been talking about music on the coast, was that we never had that big premiere venue.
Yes.
But we had other venues underneath it. But I guess since the closure of the Rhythm Hut and a few other venues around, that sort of intermediate venue, there's no opportunity there.
I was trying to get Rhythm Hut early in my career when my music was a lot worse. So I was like, damn, if only. But thinking
about it now, the Rhythm Hut would have suited it so well.
I would have loved space down there.
All I can think of is the Lincoln bin, but I don't like. They don't usually. I haven't seen them do hip hop, but they do a wide range of stuff. I don't know if they're like in terms of the equipment you need.
Yeah, I think
they'd have that.
I think as far as this next project, I'm definitely going to look more into it because I feel like at this point I can try to get some people from. I might have a bigger following in Sydney now, but there's always the chance to kind of do something here. But performing here is hard, but that's what you hope to do. You make hip hop established here. Like, there's Comar, like he's a Central Coast hip hop. Like, there's other people who can do it now, and then venues will be like, I'll allow it more. I guess that's kind of also another mission.
Yeah, and it's great to have someone in front of us that is like clearly a lot of your motivation is about doing it for the area.
Yeah, well, I mean, I say all that, but I struggle with like all the stress and like I don't like all the just in my head about it all the time. But yeah, I mean, I would like to, because no one else has really tried to. I would like me to at least give it a shot.
Yeah,
there's no harm in trying.
Yeah. Well, according to our numbers, we're the most listened to podcast on the planet.
Come on.
And so we're back in Comar. I think you're going to have heaps of support.
Oh, thank you.
Our numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't mean anything nowadays, really, do they?
No, I was never a mathematician, so numbers I'm not that fond of.
I know people who do mad numbers, but can't put people in seats, unfortunately.
That's it. How has the response been? Both in, I suppose you said there's been more people picking it up in Sydney, and that's where you've been doing a lot of work. But how have you found the response, both to Flight Academy and your personal stuff over the last couple of years?
The Flight Academy response has been crazy. Like I think we've gotten a lot more support from other artists, which is really cool. Like people that I never thought would even like check out some stuff I do, but obviously paying attention to Flight, that's really cool. But I mean, the coast has always kind of had my back. I was very fortunate that in high school people didn't think I was really gross and cringy for making music, but that might have also been because there's people at my school making significantly less better music. So
was there a big, because you said you went to Gosford High School, which is, for those who don't know, it's sort of like more of a academic, I guess, school. Like you need to pass a certain test and have certain requirements to be able to go there. So you're saying there was quite a decent hip hop scene.
Well, it was like a meme rap scene. Like no one was trying.
Okay.
Like everyone was trying to just be kind of funny. But I kind of came into it being like, I've been writing music since I was 12, but like this could be the way I can see if people think I'm weird or not. If I like, but then everyone's like, oh, you sound so much better than these guys, and I'm like, oh, I'll just keep going then. Like, so yeah, Gosford High, we had a scene, but it wasn't a series. Like I could name you, none of them make music anymore other than Blair Andrews, but he just went a complete 180 and started making this beautiful indie rock to just actual rock now. But everyone else, yeah, I think there's bigger people in my year group that went to other high schools, like obviously Astro. And the Gosford High alumni trickled off early. Like we had Nina Geraci, we had Boy Soda, we had Renwick, and now
are they all Gosford?
I didn't
know Boy Soda.
I'm pretty sure. Boy Soda, I'm 100% sure. Nina Geraci,
really?
I'm pretty sure she's from the Gosford High.
She's from King Cumber, I know that.
Yeah.
I saw a post. I didn't mean to talk to you about this. I didn't know if you knew, Cam, but I saw a post the other day. It clicked really late for me, and she was like on stage somewhere nuts. Like there's like
she was at Lollapalooza or something.
It must have been 10,000 plus people in front of her, and she's like, "This is so crazy. I'm literally from King Cumber." What's the caption? I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
I didn't know King Cumber specifically. I knew the coast, and yeah, Boy Soda. Because he lived in Terrigal and he was making music out of his bedroom in Terrigal, so I just assumed Terrigal High. But
yeah, I remember him coming to when we had like a big day in and we had like a talent show. I remember him being the guest host. I'm like, oh, I forgot he went to my high school. Hey, I didn't realize this was him. And then when I went to uni, my tutor was like his guitarist. I was like, what the hell?
Also doing great stuff, Boy Soda.
Boy Soda is so talented. Like, oh my God. His song Company he put out last year.
There was whatever it was. I can't remember the name of it. The one I put in our Who's Who article. Like I don't know how long ago. Would have been. I don't know when. I'm not even going to try. But it was amazing. I was like, his trajectory has been fantastic.
I know, but yeah, Gosford High alumni strong, and I'm hoping to be in that conversation at some point. Yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned that you've been writing since you were 12. Was it always hip hop?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, like I basically my way into hip hop was I was going to Wagga with my mum. And she was like, oh, I'll let you buy a CD. And I remember my cousin used to play Eminem in the house. And I was like, oh, let me get the Greatest Hits album. And the first song is one of the most inappropriate songs you ever hear in your life. But
road trip with mum.
Yeah, basically. But from there, I was like, I got into my Eminem phase and I learned about like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole. And then I was like, I like writing and expressing how I feel. So I would just I would produce by putting loops together, and I would just make albums on my like laptop, but I'd never put it anywhere until I started working with like Luna, and I was like, oh, these are actual producers, so I'm gonna trust them.
I was gonna ask about the Eminem thing, but I was like, is it too obvious or too like, I don't know, like, of course that's who would have been an influence.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously a white person making hip hop. Eminem was my first introduction into it, obviously.
Yeah, and then I was like, is that like an ignorant comparison or something to draw? So
I think the fact he was pretty much what made hip hop commercial. He would have been one of the final pieces of the puzzle that made hip hop like a commercially successful genre. So I think a lot of people, Eminem was their first introduction, especially overseas.
Yeah.
So that's not like ignorant. I think it's pretty fair enough.
Particularly the time too. So you're a bit younger than us, but that era of when we would have in those formative kind of like preteen, teen years was when, or like all around, I always center around Encore.
Yeah.
That album. And on either side of that was all roughly that period. He was at the height of his influence then.
Yeah. So I think, Eminem was the first influence, but I don't really pull from much more just because I think I've outgrown his music a little.
What do you make of his new stuff?
No, don't get me started. It annoys me. Like it's kind of upsetting as someone who kind of obviously got into music because of him. But I mean, like, he's happy in life. Like, who cares? Like,
have you heard the conspiracy theory around Eminem?
Of him being cloned?
Yeah.
Can't get me started. He grew. He aged. He almost overdosed. Like, what would he expect?
Yeah, I heard that for the first time a few weeks ago. We went away and we were watching the Super Bowl halftime show with Eminem, Dr. Dre, Kendrick, or Snoop Dogg, or the superstars. And there's someone mentioned, have you heard the conspiracy theory about, because he OD'd or nearly OD'd.
Yeah.
And then he came back, had like his tattoos removed as well. And they were like, it'd take so much longer and there'd still be scarring and evidence. So clearly it's just a body double pretending to be Eminem.
He's the same age as my dad. Like, of course he looks different.
People love cloning conspiracies in particular. It's like if they're that sophisticated to cloning, man, they're going to give the tattoos as well. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like, why would they miss the tattoos? Like, what? That's what they always like. Bro, if they were cloning people, we wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah.
Like, they would not. It would not be that easy.
Yeah, it's just so conspiracy. Like there are real conspiracies that have been demonstrated that we should probably be focusing on, like 100%. The things that are going on in the world right now. That there's enough evidence that we can really see it's actually occurring. But the conspiracy theorists just take 3 more steps and then just create something out of thin air. And it's like,
do that on TikTok all the time.
Put the energy elsewhere.
There's conspiracy theories on my TikTok. I'll read them. Like, oh, that makes sense. And then they put me in the deep ends. I'm like, nah, come on. I was almost there.
We're onto something.
But yeah,
get your Gosford High critical hat thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Academic school. Yeah. Shout out Gosford.
Were you quite academic in school?
In primary school, yes. High school, I think the pressure of trying to compete with everyone got to me. And then when I realized I wanted to do music, I was like, I don't need to try anymore.
I don't need an HSC.
My motto is I should have tried less in my HSC because I went to James C Academy for university.
Yeah.
And I got enrolled already. So I was already good to go before HSC.
Yeah, wow.
So I didn't really I just spent all the time playing video games with my friends, which is bad advice for people who want to get into school.
You know, I did, well, not sort of similar. So GTA 5 came out during HSC.
That's fair enough.
They can't do that.
And I had effectively 2-week gap between exams. From memory, it could have been 1 week. I effectively had a 5 days in a row of exams, couple of days off, and then like the very last day of HSC had another. So I effectively had 2 weeks off. If I really studied, I could have nailed that biology exam. But I've gone mental load, I need a break, and played GTA 5 for so much of that break.
That's so real. Biology sucked. I hate it. 'Cause again, I picked all my subjects before I realized I wanted to do music. So I had like all the basic ones just so I could make any degree.
Yeah.
So my HSC was modern history, which I did love, business studies, advanced maths, advanced English, and biology. And
did you have to do advanced at Gosford?
Advanced English you had to. Advanced maths you didn't, but I thought I could do it, which no. The advanced math, whoever wrote the advanced math HSC course in 2020, retire. The worst curriculum ever. You have to learn a new thing every week. That's not enough.
I smell a diss track.
Oh, weird.
I don't think it's that bad advice, honestly. Sound advice. If there's young budding musicians listening, like it's really not to be all and end all. Like just do what you love, and that's what will make you happiest, I think.
100%.
I want to touch quickly back on the Flight Academy stuff. Yeah. How did you get in the plane? So,
that's a good story.
Cam, I don't know if you've seen.
I've seen the image.
Yeah. So it looks.
That's a real plane.
I saw it and I was like,
it's
okay,
a real plane.
It's the same. It's a Boeing 747, a Qantas one. It's the same plane used in Anybody But You, the Sydney Sweeney movie, because they shot it here.
Yeah.
So that plane was using that. So basically, how it came about, Luna, that was his idea. He was like, "Oh, we should get in a plane in like a cockpit for him." We were like, "Yeah, you're crazy, mate. That's never gonna happen." Kieran gets all the information sorted to reach out to Haas Aviation Museum down in like past Wollongong, I think. It's really down south. So then we got in contact with them, got their prices. I don't remember. I think we got a bit of a discount on it just because Bart being a sweet talker. But yeah, we went down there. We had half an hour to shoot in the plane. But they were so beautiful. Like their service was amazing that we just stuck around, went to do the whole museum trip like on our own. We did like a nice little tour with the group, the videographers on the day. Yeah, it was a beautiful experience. But yeah, that's how we came about of it. We just asked to do it. Paid about $100 a head for it.
That's fine.
Pretty cheap, honestly. Like couldn't complain.
Because that's almost like bucket list stuff for some people to be in a cockpit of an actual plane.
Well, yeah, because young pilot used to want to be a pilot. So for him, it was like, yeah. But we had a blast. I mean, the cover art, it stuck with people. Like most people might not have even listened to the album, but they know the cover art.
I love it, eh? Like everyone's individual position. Like it's a really well constructed photograph. And then that's when I thought, oh, like they've kind of like, I don't know, green screened the outside. I don't know what I thought.
Well, we green screened the clouds. But
right, but the
plane is real.
And then I saw the other photos, and you're in the other parts of the plane, and like it's really good. But that cover photo is unreal.
That wasn't my pick too of what the cover art picture was going to be. So that's one thing I've gotten completely wrong. I was like, nah, this one's better, guys, and everyone's like, Marcus, shut up. So yeah,
it's epic. So we know there's more in the works for Flight Academy. We know. So you've got these album that you're working on, coast based, and then you've been teasing some extensions to Flight Academy Volume 1 and a Volume 2 as well, if I'm not mistaken.
So we're gonna drop a deluxe version of the first project. So we're gonna add 6 new songs. We finalized those songs a week ago. Starting to mix and master them now. We'll put a single out next month. I don't know when this is coming out, but it might be announced already. We're doing the video for it on Sunday, so it's going to be a bit wild. So yeah, we're going to drop that, and then Flight is going to take a break for a year because everyone's going to do solo projects. I know Ishi's got a lot of placements in store. Pilot's got a tape, Bart's got a tape, I've got a tape, Luna's got a tape. So next year is going to be, we're going to just do the Wu-Tang and everyone just puts out solo work.
Yep.
And then I guess we revisit later next year. Because I would like to do a volume 2. I would like to do less work though, because I have to do all the content and I'm planning half the stuff. So my workload is kind of crazy in comparison to some other people in the group. But I'd love to do a volume 2, especially if people want it. So, yeah.
Well, the appetite's been pretty good so far. And then in terms of live performances, you've been doing a lot in Sydney. Those cypher-looking things in skate parks, yes. I don't know if I'm describing them correctly. They look like a lot of fun.
So that's a Bodega Collective, a Sydney-based kind of group, and they do this thing called Pass the Mic every once in a while, which is basically they get about 10 to 15 artists. Everyone goes to do one song. They'll do it anywhere. They've done Crown Hotel. They've done their own studio space. They've done Red Rattler Theatre, and then they did Parramatta Skate Park for hours. So yeah, they asked us to come along after seeing the promotional video that we did. I don't know if you guys saw the flight safety parody video. They reached out and we just did Wake Up to Yourself. It was pretty fun. Yeah, that was what that was. But yeah, we'll do more performances. We got one finalized the other day. So September we got another gig. I can't announce it yet because it hasn't been announced. October I think we're doing something, and then I'm going overseas. Pilot's going overseas, so I don't know if there'll be much else in the year.
Overseas just for holiday purposes?
I need a break. It's been a long year, but yeah, I think we just Pilot's going with his misso to go see family in Thailand. I'm going with some friends to go Rolling Loud Thailand and then just travel otherwise. But yeah, that's kind of the plan for the rest of the year.
And do you have any other like employment or anything else for work, or are you purely full-time musician?
So I'm working casual at a bottle shop right now. Yeah, I'm looking for work in Sydney in kind of the music field. I just finished my resume today, so I'm going to try to like actually get out there and do something in Sydney. But yeah, I do that. That's where I make my money from. I get a bit from music, but obviously it's hard to make hard to make money in this industry. But yeah, we all work full time, so yeah.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, that's sort of I guess what I was wanting to get at is because it is, especially in the climate as well at the moment in the industry, it is so hard to make any genuine income. Like I think we reported recently that like Teen G's and the Gene Teasers, who are, they're regulars on Triple J, they're touring the country, they are at a level where most musicians would go, if I get to their level, I'd be happy. Yeah, but even they are saying that they can't make a sustainable income just from music alone. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I get the benefit of still living at home. I haven't been had a chance to move out yet. So I don't have to pay bills. So that's where I kind of have a bit more leverage on the financial front. But like everyone else,
it's hard. Like you got to pay ridiculous amount of money to even live normally.
Yep.
And then how much money are you going to make off music? Like royalty is like you get 5 cents a stream, barely.
Especially doing it the way that you're wanting to do it, and that is to make music that you enjoy and speaks to you,
exactly,
as opposed to going to a mass appeal route. And actually, Ben Lee, the podcast I listened to, he was saying he went a similar direction. He just wanted to make music that was interesting to him and that he thought his fans would enjoy, as opposed to trying to push towards a mass appeal sort of direction.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the dilemma I'm fighting with for this project, because I kind of want it just to be on my own terms. I want everything visually to just look the way I want it to, which might mean a bit more of a financial loss. And it's like do I really want to put all that into it? But like I do, but like, I'm 22 still. I do have a lot of life left to live, obviously, and like a lot more time to make money, but still like, it's just a dilemma. Like, do I keep going at something which I'm not going to make much money from?
But I guess you don't know that you're not going to make money from it.
That's a good point too.
But
it's like, yeah,
I guess the chances of not making a lot of money is higher just based on the way the industry is, and it's so hard to sort of break through to the point where you are making money.
Yeah, it's just not going the easy route, I guess, which is always a risk and kind of scary at times, but like,
if it pays off, it pays off.
Exactly. That, and also like I can look back and be like, oh, I made something I really loved.
Yeah.
Like that was everything to me. If that's all I get to do, like I'll be happy. So yeah, that's kind of like the way I go. I lean. I'm like, for me, it's going to be better for me. So yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. I suppose it just shouldn't. I mean, in a perfect world, it's not as much of a gamble. Of course, everything comes with a gamble, but the balance feels like it's a little bit out at the moment in terms of what you can make as an artist. Even when you're picking up a good amount of attention, obviously, studios, artists, producers all deserve to get paid, but it costs a lot, and then the artists who are trying to create that time aren't getting paid enough via the way that they make money. So it's a tough gamble, but it's being true to yourself, and it's good that you're out there doing it, and you can stand back at the end of it and be happy with how you did it.
Yeah, and like it's even worrying when like we see a festival get cancelled left, right, and center. It's scary to be like, even they're not making money. So what am I supposed to do? But yeah, at least rolling sets looks good.
Yeah,
that's I'm like, the Central Coast will be fine at least. I don't know if the Central Coast Council or anything makes money off rolling sets, but obviously having a music festival here is kind of like, oh, that's cool.
It's fantastic. And I think because it has such a strong local attraction is perhaps part of the success as well. You look at some of the other festivals that are, in Sydney or, your bigger areas, even like, Groovin at Maitland, like you'd have an extent of the Maitland locals who would want to go, but it feels like, because we've been so thirsty for something like this on the coast for so long, that there is such a strong local support as well as people coming from other parts of the state.
Yeah, and I mean, you got like people like Mumbos and all that kind of pushing music too. So it's kind of like a moment now where everything's kind of fleshing the way things out. And I hope it extends to a bit more genres. Obviously, it's kind of indie rock focused, which is fair enough because that's where kind of the market is. But like, if you can start getting like people like me and Astro around the festival itself, like we don't need to play rolling sets, but if we're doing like the after shows and stuff, that's what you want to kind of keep growing.
Yeah, because I saw, looking at the locals that are on rolling sets, it's a lot more that sort of heavier scene. Like you got Jan, you got Shat.
Shout out Jan, bro. Their first guitarist is one of my best friends, Josh Andrew.
Oh,
He left early on because he got uni, but like I've known about Jan since they first started.
So I'm like
seeing them now.
Stuff. Yeah.
So shout out Jan.
Yeah, Jan. Like that's what we were talking about the other day. The heavy community's having a moment, and it's just like, hopefully we can spread more genres, bring it all in, and then we'll have this proper big ecosystem. But it is moving in that direction.
And I think a big part of that is thanks to Lincoln Pin. Like that venue alone has sort of really championed and sort of created a space for a lot of those musicians to play and shine and grow.
Yeah.
So if we had other venues, they don't have to be, genre specific, but if, Lincoln Pin, for example, did more hip hop and rap nights, then that would allow that community on the coast to thrive and grow. And then suddenly we have a really nice, I guess, ecosystem where it's a lot more spread out and diverse as opposed to, indie rock will probably still dominate because we're coastal and we're on New South Wales, and that just seems to be a dominant genre, up and down the coastline. But if we can have, those other little ecosystems thriving as well, creates a much healthier scene.
Exactly. So yeah, I hope this year goes well, so that next year, obviously the scope is broadened, and like you see someone like Astro get that type of thing, and then hopefully me one day.
Well, they're hopefully listening, but yeah, it's happening, and this has been a hope-filled chat. I reckon. Oh yeah, it's been really good.
I mean, the lineup was like, for someone who doesn't listen to a lot of that music, I saw that lineup. I'm like, oh, that's like everyone will go.
Yeah,
like, I have friends who will see that lineup and be like, tickets already bought.
Yeah,
yeah. So I saw it and got, this is cool. Like for the Central Coast to, the Wombats.
Yeah, Wombats is big.
They're the only the only place you can see them in New South Wales is at Rolling Sets Festival. And then, G Flip, one of the biggest and most loved artists in the country. I saw people saying it's a very sort of generic festival lineup, but it almost has to be.
It is, but like I think because no one's in the music industry like that when they say that. Like I know, like we all know that like their fees are decent. Like they've easy fees to pay. Of course they're going to get the place. Like I'm sure... Like they paid $500,000 for Roddy Ricch at Listen Out. Roddy Ricch is not worth $500,000. Like,
I did not know that.
Like that's crazy to me. Yeah. So like, of course they're booking people who are like, they don't have to pay for the travel and all that. Like
the entourage.
Financially, it makes so much sense, and people will go anyway. So we can't always. We need to stop having the conversation of it's the same lineup. It needs to be like you guys need to chill out with your demands. Like, why do we need 25 international artists for you to go to a festival?
Exactly right. We've got a lot of good stuff happening there. And I mean, the advantage of Rolling Sets, much like a football team, it's very parochial. Like we're all like, coast, bam, let's go. It's gonna sell out because it's seen as representative of our area. They've got a lot of local acts on that, which do that. And then there's a lot of good national acts on there as well, which is like... It's really good. And like no one is that much of a snob ass that they're not going to go there and not have a good time. Even if this isn't number one on your playlist, like rock up to the event. It's just a good time. Like it's fun.
Yeah, I've almost gone because like obviously a lot of those artists aren't really my thing, but I've almost just gone because I'm like, I'll see like a bunch of friends there. Like I'll just have a good day.
And it's a festival on the coast, which is rare.
I know.
And like when you look at, it's only been around for 3 years, but they haven't, in terms of the big national acts, there's no repeats.
No.
Like you look at the headline, first year was Hilltop Hoods, June Rats. Second year we had, I think the Terrys were on last year. Spacey Jane, where the headliners played 2 songs, and then
the weather. I remember that.
That was nuts.
And then obviously this December coming, they've got the Wombats, Rule, G Flip,
Lime Cordial,
More Rats there too. Like,
More Rat,
I'm like, I might go. Like I see how my finances are looking.
And even if you've seen them before, you haven't seen them at the entrance for sure.
Exactly.
Go on the Ferris wheel.
You haven't been to the entrance like that. Come on.
Go on the damn Ferris wheel. I'm telling you, it's so good. But yes, Comar, hopefully we will be seeing you on a lineup similar to, but honestly, it has been, I would describe this chat as very hopeful. It's really nice to see the energy you're bringing and what you're hoping to achieve both from the area. And it's been really great to watch what you've achieved with Flight Academy already, solo stuff as well. Wish you nothing but the best, and we'll be keeping tabs. For those who want to connect with you, where can they find you?
So on Instagram, I go by, they can't give me back the actual Comar, so it's C0MAR.
What do you mean they can't give it back?
Like I've reported the account because it's like a vacant account. Like it's just like the white person avatar. Yeah. But obviously, like someone has it. But
someone's got the username, but they're not active.
And I've reported it, and they won't give it to me. But for now, it's C0MARR. To find all the flight stuff, I'm posting most of it on my Instagram with everyone tagged. Otherwise, on TikTok, we're Flight Academy Music. On YouTube, we're just Flight Academy. On Spotify, all the Flight Academy music's under Comar, Bardic XL, Young Pilot. All my music's under Comar. You kind of have to sift through a few like acts overseas. I have like 10,000 monthly listeners, just a bit above me. So
check it out there, and we'll link your personal Instagram, Flight Academy stuff, what we can in the show notes of this podcast. So if you want to find it there, check it out. But Comar, thank you so much.
No, thank you guys for reaching out. I really love doing something on the coast, and not just because it doesn't take me an hour and a half. Like generally, it's beautiful to see more stuff music related on the coast. Because I mean, I grew up wanting to do this, but I never thought anyone would like care here. So to have people care is like all I need. So yeah, thank you very much for doing this and just being that force. I hope you get more flowers as you keep going.
Thank you. No we care.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was probably one of my favourite episodes. He says not knowing what episode this is going to be attached to at the end for the outro, but I'm sure it was a cracker regardless. And if you want more from us, head to www.homebrewed.au. All of our work is done on Darkingjung Land here on the Central Coast. We pay our respects to Indigenous past, present and emerging. We'll see you in the next one.
But yeah, Lost Paradise, shout out. That's a big commitment though.
It is, and there's no phone reception there, at least for me. So if you go in, that's like part of the beauty of it, though. I think
that's very true.
You're there and you're just okay. We're here for the festival. We're camping. This is our life for the next however long you're there.
I can't do that personally. It's not my lifestyle, unfortunately. But everyone who does it looks like that.
It's a nice little detox.
Oh,
for a short period of time.
Imagine.
Yeah. I just like it's like all these people just converge in the bush, and it's just for this party thing, and everyone's there for 4 days, and everyone forgets completely about whatever else.
It's like Gosford Hotel for 24/7 for 3 days. I don't know if that's my
better music anymore. Than Gosford Hotel.
Yo, I could go on for another 15 minutes about that horrible music taste. They said they were going to play hip hop. No, they said they were going to play R&B and play Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, it is a whole other tangent. There's so much potential in that venue. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's like it flows nicely. It's a lot of fun. And then every time I've been there, that like you have a dance because you have a dance or whatever. But you just think this could be a million times better if you just got some different DJs.
Like you could be a good performance place too, but it's just not laid out well, and it's just like the worst people there. Like in the most respectful way possible. 'Cause I have a lot of friends that go there, and they would agree with me. But yeah, that's what I tell, man. But shout out Lost Paradise.